Hey, welcome back. We're going to give this another crack, another Love the Ride podcast. Today's guest is a man about town, John Odoms, really well known across Australia as mountain biking, probably the gravel scene too, Johnny. Is that fair?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, and raced quite a bit in New Zealand. So, John,
Hey,
tell us
thanks
a bit
for
more.
me.
Who are you?
I'm well. I'm in at home in the south side of Sydney. Awesome weather today. It's been pretty horrendous. I think that you guys have been getting the same sort of weather. Hard to keep the training rolling through winter at the moment when it's pretty average, but it's why they've got invented indoor trainers and stuff like that. So
Yeah, totally. So, tell us a bit about your riding. Like, what drives you to ride your bike?
yeah, massive question. I think that it's just the mixture between just trying to do better and make myself better at riding and better at training and learning things, as well as combined with like the adventure side of things, going new places and seeing new things, and I suppose just the constant learning that you're doing with all the events and all the places and stuff like that as well. I've had a pretty big history in mountain biking. I think I've ridden for about 25 years. I've had 10 years now with Giant, which started off with Nduro and the gravity side of things, and then changed over to stage racing and XCO and marathon and stuff like that now. So I think that having all those different aspects is what I really love about it.
Yeah, and what drives you to keep riding? Like beyond getting results and podiums, and you've had a few. What keeps you going?
Yeah, I think I mean it's. I think habit is one thing because I'm a lifetime cyclist. I think is one thing, and I think that as well. Just to now, I feel really I'm motivated to actually motivate other people and just try to get more and more people into riding of whatever level. So I got my wife and a big group of her friends into riding over COVID, which is pretty cool. Some of them have stuck with it, some of them haven't, but that's pretty cool. I got two daughters. One of them really loves going out for a mountain bike ride and going night riding and stuff like that. And then in my local area, I've got a handful of guys that I ride with regularly and trying to help them to I suppose get some results, but also enjoy the journey along the way.
Yeah, totally. And your local area is probably like 400 kilometers wide. Looking at your rides.
Well, it depends on how big you want to call it. I suppose the main riding that I do is like in the Royal National Park on some mountain bike trails there, and then there's roads down the coast to Wollongong as well. So pretty lucky in I suppose in the surrounds that I've had. I don't have to drive to ride, which for me I think would actually be really detrimental in making me want to ride. I really don't like the idea of driving to a ride.
Yeah.
When I was growing up as well, like the local scene was really strong. We had probably a handful of like World Cup level cross country riders. So we had like Paul Rowney, who rode for Haro and a couple of other brands back in the day. Rob Woods, who rode for GT and did some Olympics. Sid Taboulet, who rode for Avanti and then Specialized, I think, and Yeti as well. And Perrin Delacour, who was a really good rider. Josh Fleming, who did the Olympics, and his brother Matt, who rode for Trek as well. So growing up with all those guys around, like I didn't think about it much at the time, but now later on, I'm like, wow, that was actually really cool to have those guys. And I just remember seeing their bikes and see them riding their setup and stuff like that. So pretty rad.
That's a big hit list to have locally.
Yeah, yeah.
Sounds like a
yeah,
little bit like Durango, and over in the States. It's like they got that
yeah.
collective.
Yeah, I think though that now the scene's changed a lot and everyone is into the trail bikes and enduro bikes. And we do have like a local short track racing sort of series that the local clubs had going for probably like 15 years now, which has a lot of younger kids there, and I try to get up there and support that, and not so much have a race, but just spread the froth and do some jumps and skids and stuff like that with the young guys. That seems to be pretty important.
Totally. You're probably getting to the age where you might get your doors blown off too.
Well, in the super short stuff, I do have to be careful that I know who I'm racing against and how to best play my cards, I suppose.
Yeah, and it's definitely something noticeable, probably in New Zealand as well, but definitely in Australia. The mountain bike scene doesn't seem as prevalent. Like a lot of stuff on social media has dropped away. I think we're having a conversation online, like what's actually happening over there at the moment.
Yeah, From my perspective, which I would take with a grain of salt, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but it's mine, is that I think that the COVID sort of thing hammered a lot of events, but then once COVID's gone away, then there's lots of events that have come back plus more. But the amount of riders that are actually racing at the top level is still the same amount. So that amount of, say, there's like, I don't know, I'd say there's like 10 real hitters in men's XCO and XCM racing in Australia at the moment. But instead of there being 20 big events, there's now like 30 big events. And so you're only getting twos and threes instead of like 7 or 8 at each of them.
Yeah, and I think we've adopted one of your hitters, Sam Fox is
Yeah,
based
yeah,
over here now.
Yeah, he was. I don't know if it's like the South Island of Australia or just the West Island of New Zealand down in Tasmania, but it's good. I had a chat with him the other day actually with work and with Pure to work with him as well and support his racing a little bit further, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, no, totally. He's a bit of a freak, with his bike packing to races, and we had a half marathon on in the South Island, and he pretty much slept in his car. I think it was like -4 or -5 and snowing on the mountains, and he's just like, yeah, got up, and I think he finished top 10 or something, in a running race.
Yeah, I think you know how to hurt. You know how to hurt.
Yeah, true. So take us go back to sort of, you mentioned your 20 plus years of riding bikes. Let's go back to where it started, and like, was that downhill?
Look, I suppose the very inception and the story to my first mountain bike was when I was 13, and PlayStations were a big thing back then. And I asked the parents for a PlayStation for Christmas, and ended up with an Avanti mountain bike of all things. And I think back then I don't know. I think that I had a lot of freedom. I didn't really. They were like, "Oh, just stay within our suburb," and our suburbs like maybe like 2 or 3 suburbs over from the national park. And I remember riding up to the local crit track where they have the short track races, and saw a short track mountain bike race, and they're like, "Oh, you should have a race." And so I literally just out riding my bike and ended up having a race. And they're like, "Oh, you're pretty good. You should come out for a ride with the group." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. I'll do that." And then just rolled on from there, I suppose.
Yeah, nice. Is that local mentality still there, where kids just roll on up, or has that sort of changed a bit as well?
I think that it's changed a little bit, just with like, I suppose, like media and the more mainstream team sports and stuff like that. I suppose after I got into that, then I started watching like Eurosport and stuff, and saw the World Cup downhill racing, and there was like the old like VHS videos of all the American scene and the Norba races and stuff like that, and that motivated me to race downhill. And then I eventually annoyed my parents enough to get me a downhill bike, and I think my first national downhill race was in like maybe 95 or 96 perhaps. Stayed with some guy called Michael Ronning, who popped up later in my story and probably was the one that got me into enduro a little bit more than what I was already at, and then introduced me to the folks at Giant as well. So yeah, I did go from the cross country very at the beginning, then downhill, and raced like the national scene, and had some good results and stuff there. Did world champs in downhill in junior as well. Only beaten by French and some guy called Mick Hanna, so that was okay. Got 6th. And then I think after that it was just enduro started to become a thing, and went in that direction.
Yeah, so you EWS in New Zealand, was it?
I think I did 1, and then I've done 2 at Derby in Australia.
Yeah.
I think I scraped into a top 50 at one of them. I don't know. I think that the level is just insanely high in enduro, and how quickly they're going with very minimal course practice and stuff like that is like just absolutely amazing. The bike setup and stuff is something that I like to geek out on still. I still read the websites and stuff on what they're doing, and the crazy sort of suspension and that sort of setup. I think that's pretty cool. I think that cross country is actually starting to adopt a little bit more of that mindset, that it's not just about weight. Like, you can have a bike that can actually do a mad jump and handle the crazy descents and stuff like that as well.
We all know what the new Giant anthem looks like now, so
yeah, it's like the worst
secret.
I think they posted it on their own social media, so I'm like, don't know if it's a secret or what.
But that's definitely a bit more freedom for a cross country bike.
Yeah,
see how that rolls out in production.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah, so I was race director for EWS in 2017 and 19 here. Mate, those guys, those top guys, top 10, like Richie Rue, Jared Graves, all of those guys are just like weapons, man. And like the fit, eh?
Yeah, I remember seeing Clemonts and stuff like that, those early sorts of days when it was like Graves and Clemonts were battling for it, and so fit and just ragged as well. I
Yeah.
suppose riding over the limits of the bike at that sort of point in time as well. Whereas now, like, I don't know, it seems a lot more dialed than what it was even back then.
Yeah, a lot more tech in it, eh? A lot more tech in it. So, do you still think you're a racer, mate? You're talking about racing back in the 90s.
Yeah,
You must be aging nearly 50.
I've been standing in the shade. I'm just 25 now, so I don't know. It's a real good question. I would say that I would probably classify myself still as a racer because I still train to race. I think that the side adventures or side quests, as I like to call them, are maybe becoming more of a thing because I'm enjoying the photography and video sort of side of things a little bit more. And I think that it's important in some ways to tie that in so that you can get a little bit more, I suppose, reach on social media, and then maybe get more people to even try XCO racing and some of the stage races and stuff like that as well. So I think that at the moment, with limited people out there, to try to bring that all together is a good thing.
Yeah, and you mentioned all the stage races and XCO and stuff. Um, what sort of keeps you hooked into these races? Like it's a long time to keep racing.
Yeah, I just think that I do love that feeling of being on the start line and being like, I've done as much training as I can do, and I think that the younger guys are going real well, and you're like, oh, this will be interesting. Will this be the race that I'm going to have my arse handed to me and I'll just be totally hooped out, or can I still be relevant? And I think that for the most part, I think as I've got older, I've actually got a lot smarter with how I race and how I train, and so
Totally.
maybe negates the maybe I'm older, so science says I shouldn't go quite as quick, but I'm heaps smarter than what I was 10 years ago. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think like as a junior coming through now, there's so much information. Like, yeah, we're all sort of like gels weren't even a thing when I first started racing. Like they were just starting to come onto the market. Now they're everywhere. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I can remember back. I've lost my vibe to race, but I think it was port to port
Yeah.
when I actually got taken out in stage
Yeah.
two. I think we're in the top 20. We weren't close to you guys, but we'd say we're close to you guys. Top
Yeah.
20 in the you and
Yeah.
Turkey.
Yeah.
But coming out off that injury, I couldn't be fucked racing anymore. Like I still go and race, but I'm at the back of the pack now. I just like don't have any
Yeah.
intention
Well,
to go well. But man, the back of the pack, that's where the banter is. It's so fun.
yeah. Yeah.
Like you're not smashing yourself, like you're having a little battle with the dudes in front, but everybody's like jumping off stuff and whipping off stuff. It's just such a different world. Like you still don't want to come last, but
Yeah. I think,
there's just a different world, eh? Like I even got that at BC bike race because I went into BC injured,
mm, mm.
and there's just so much more banter at the back. Probably because
I
you're
think,
not heaving.
yeah, I think there's heaps more people having a much better time at the back there and having a
Yeah,
laugh, enjoying it. And I mean, at the end, you're not worried about like recovery shake. You're actually probably going to have a beer or something like that and a burger. And it's not about getting your legs in the Normatex and doing all those sorts of things. And I think that, I mean, social media almost like focuses on that now. Unless you're the one guy who's won, everyone else pretty much telling the story of how much fun you've had is much more popular.
yeah,
Um, and I think that that also encourages people to get out there. I mean, I've had a couple of guys that are like, "Oh yeah, I've been training real hard. I'm really hoping for a race result." And I'm like, don't actually worry so much about the race result. You go and ride as hard as you can. The people around you are probably going to have a good race as well, and they're going to have fun. Just enjoy it because you can't change it.
yeah. Never a true word spoken.
Yeah.
You're currently now you're working for Pure Sports Nutrition. Great New Zealand brand. I'll throw that in there for your Aussie
Yep.
friends.
Thank you. Yep.
Tell us how that's all come about, mate. How did you fall into the world of Pure and your New South Wales? What's your role?
Vic, New South Wales, Vic, and Tas are the areas that I look after. So I don't go to that many bike shops because there is a bike wholesaler over here who does that. running stores, like nutrition stores, health food shops, all that sort of thing. So I deal with those guys, deal with the athletes a little bit as well. So like Sam Fox and lots of runners and clubs and that sort of thing, which is pretty cool. How it all came about was that I started using Pure a couple of years prior to that. Got looked after by them, enjoyed the product, and then I saw Rowan, the other Aussie rep, put up a thing on social media saying that there was a job going, and I was like, oh, I don't really need a new job, but that'd be interesting. And so I just think I sent them an email, and they're like, oh yeah, we should have a chat. You probably don't need to learn the range because you've used it all, so you know it. I'm like, yeah, sure, okay. And then it literally just rolled on from there, and yeah, been loving it. So good to work with them as far as like helping people understand the product, but as well as like helping a little bit with product development and stuff like that, getting some flavors that no one else has had. Yeah, I think that it's such a huge growing space as far as like people's understanding and also how much better you can make your performance if you're doing it right.
Yeah. So you're the person that's brought apple crumble to the market, is it? Is that you?
That wasn't me. There's one that might come out soon. I don't know if I'm even allowed to say it, but
Let's sneak it out anyway.
I'm petitioning for a seasonal flavor of gel and make it a bit wild. I think what my original ideas that I threw at them was kiwi, because everyone in Australia loves kiwi fruit. I think I'm sure that now that I've said that, everyone will disagree with me, but I think that a kiwi fruit gel would be a good one. I think like even like a donut, like a jam donut type thing, those sorts of ones that are like a little bit different, or a Christmas pudding flavored gel. Not one that you'd probably want all year round, but something novelty for Christmas. I think that pushing the boundaries of what you can do with the gel is something that I would love to do, which is probably why I'm not allowed to just send people out.
Single malt or something like that. Single malt whiskey gel.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Proper adult ones.
Yeah, mate. Most of the gel users are starting to get older, aren't they?
Mm.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you got a bit of territory to cover there. If you look at your Strava rides, you're cracking up a bit of riding. How are you managing that work cycle family balance?
It's a tough one. I mean, I got two daughters. They're both not fully grown up, but 15 and 11, so they're nearly both in high school now. I manage my time so that I get up early, do as much work as I can, basically like 6 till 8 sort of thing. Get all the emails out of the way, help them get to school, and then go do some work, and then hopefully squeeze a ride or a gym session in the afternoon if I can. Days when I want to do a bunch ride, then I'll just flip it around and do the bunch ride in the morning, and then do the normal 9 to 5 sort of thing.
Sweet. So how do you actually train? So like, I know you've done the Waka 100 miler, the giant Waka 100 miler for the last few years and been on the top step.
Yeah.
What does that training week look like when you're going for an event of that intensity?
Well, something like that I think that it takes quite a bit of time to actually prepare for it. Like I would say 3 months would probably be when I would start to make some changes to the regular training that I would then, I suppose, more specific for that event. So like the giant miler, for instance, I make sure that I'm going to do a few rides that are going to be at least as long as what the total race time is, if not a little bit longer. Try to make sure that it's also got the same amount of climbing or similar sorts of climbs in there, so that your body and your feelings, you can learn what it's going to be like once you're deep in the hole, on the rivet, sort of in the race sort of situation, and also training your stomach and training how much carbs you can get in there. You can't just go from 0 to 120 or 150 grams of carbs an hour. That's probably one of the hardest things to manage now, and that changes your performance so much out there as well.
Yeah, and so you started training for this year, have you?
Well, not on purpose, but I think that like my 250k trail ride around Sydney the other week certainly would qualify as a Waka 100 training ride. It was far more brutal than what I thought that it would be. I mean, we don't have any real big climbs in Sydney like there are over there, but so many steep, like sort of, I don't know, 100 metre vertical, 150 metre vertical in one little bit. Just, yeah, gets the intensity up, that's for sure.
Yeah, nice. Now, I've done a bit of 24-hour riding. You've won a 24-hour World Championships.
I've won an age group.
How did that happen? Was that out of the blue?
That was actually, yeah, I won. I suppose I won the age group one a while back when we just had my first order, and yeah, I think I literally did one 24-hour race before that, slept in it, accidentally qualified for world champs. World champs were at Stromlo, like 3 hours away. So I was like, I guess I'll go give it a go. And I knew how fast some of the guys that were sort of competitive in the elite were going, and I was like, oh yeah, I reckon I can go close. And I had a guy who was pretty switched on with nutrition at the time who made me eat heaps of potatoes and pancakes for the first 12 hours and have no sugar, basically. And yeah, sort of that worked out pretty well. I think that I was like maybe 8th overall. And yeah, like had plenty up my sleeve in the age group. And then more recently won 24-hour national champs with Jason English and a handful of other real fast people there. And the mindset for lapped 24-hour racing is very difficult. I don't know if I want to embrace that again. I'm all about going for a 24-hour ride. I'm happy to do that, but just the lap factor is just so mentally challenging.
Yeah, Worlds 2013 in Stromlo. I went out way too fast. I think like all the boys are in it, like all the Canberra boys were in my, because I was doing age group and they're all in my age group. I think Tricky might even been in it. I don't know. But we all hauled out the gate, and I remember getting up to the top of the first climb by the observatories and just shredding my tire and just sealant everywhere. Got back down, jumped on the other bike, went back out, blew the pivots out of the bike, and I was just like, what else could go wrong? And then about midnight, I was remember doing a lap with Jess Douglas, and I was just following her around. And about midnight, I'd started talking about all these glow in the dark spiders and shit. I was like, oh, fucked up. And then I pulled up at the wrong Kiwi team's pit, and I'm like, why's your grass purple? And then like I'm in the medic's tent. I remember that. Woke up in the camper van with a spew bag in my hand. I'm like, oh fuck,
that's grim.
I think I was like saying to Belinda, my wife, I was like, what's the results? And I went back out, and I think I got like within the top 10 fastest laps, but I couldn't eat anything. It was just spew all over my handlebars, and good old 24-hour racing.
Yeah, I remember that world champ Stromlo one for me as well. I think that I don't know if it was the same year. It might have been a year earlier or something like that. And I remember early in the morning, I'm like, you just see like crazy things. You're like, is that tree like trying to grab me, or like? And you're like, is that just seeing? You think that you're seeing animals and stuff like that, and you're like,
yeah,
sunlight cannot come soon enough. You're like literally going crazy.
And the bark peeling off the gum trees looks like I thought it was Freddy Krueger.
Yeah,
it's just like like you got to be pretty special to do that. And like, I was like, I had a shit race. I think I finished like in 173rd overall or something stupid.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yeah, sweet, I'm going to Scotland. And then I came back to New Zealand, flew back 2 days later, cramping on the plane, like just everything, usual story from a 24
Still fried.
And Waka 100 was the week after.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to go do this. So I did the 100. I think I came 26, but I imploded. Like the coach is like, don't ride, don't do this.
Don't do it.
Real bad idea, recover. Went and did it, and I literally got off my bike, threw it in the bushes, and I didn't race again until Port to Port. That was my next race back. So from 2013 to 2019, I literally brain fried myself.
I can see why. I can exactly see why. Particularly, I think that some of those, I don't know, I think that some of those earlier years for the WAC 100 when bike technology was far from what it is now, it wasn't that the course was harder, it's just that the bikes were nowhere near as good. And so it made it. So I remember, I think I did the first time that I actually went to New Zealand was to do the WAC 100. And I was going over with two mates, and then one bailed. We stayed at the YHA in Rotorua. Went to the Pig and Whistle for dinner every night, I'm pretty sure. And it was a wet one for the race. I had a hardtail and had my backpack and stuff like that. And it was, I've got one event photo from it, and it's like, looks like I'm riding through the forest and it's dark. I could have done with like some handlebar lights and stuff.
That wasn't 2015, was it?
No, it was early. I reckon 2010, 2011, somewhere around there.
Yeah, we've only had 2 real wet events since we've owned it. So 2014 to now is when we've owned it. I think 2015 was the worst, and then we got a bit last year, but it wasn't that bad.
No, I didn't. I didn't think that last year. I think that everyone would have been like, "This is going to be horrendous." But even when we started in the darkness at whatever stupid o'clock it was, it actually wasn't too bad. It actually got more slippery. Like once we did the second loop and then came back onto the main loop, like up frontal lobotomy and stuff like that. That was where, like, I think the first time up it was rideable, and then the second time I was like, you'd need to be pretty special to get up there. Second.
The day before with the 50K race, they got it in that storm, so they hit it, and like that whole ridge just took the storm. I've never seen that trail like that ever. And they couldn't ride it, so it's 1.9 kilometers, and it gains about 160 meters elevation, and they had to walk it.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, it's still there, mate. The trail, they didn't cut it down.
Oh, how nice! How nice of them.
One more time. 24-hour stuff's crazy. I want to talk about. You mentioned you were Giant for the last 10 years, but what are you riding, and how have you got it set up?
So my main mountain bike that I ride is an Anthem. It's I think it's got 110 mil in the back, and I got a 120 mil SID fork in the front. I have flight attendant on it, so I normally have that set up pretty soft. It has like sort of like 5 threshold settings on it. And I know like Trekkie, for instance, likes it full hard, so it's like going to lockout mode almost as soon as it possibly can. I normally run it 2 or 3 because I think that it like carves corners a little bit better. Drivetrain wise, AXS, XX1 derailleur, have the like power meter cranks, 36 tooth chainring, and a 1052. Since going to SRAM, and that's the setup that I pretty much run. Whereas with Shimano, I tended to change chainrings just a little bit more to make it more suitable, so you have more top end or better climbing sort of setup. Tyre wise, always 2.4, always Maxxis. I've been a big fan of the Recon Race for a long time, but started running Aspens just to try something different. So yeah, that's basically it. It's a pretty stock sort of setup that I run for all the events. Just change the tire pressure when I need to.
Yeah, and what's your go-to critical setup for a long race at sort of 100 k's plus?
I suppose the main things I make sure that I have fresh tires on, obviously, rebuilt suspension, because having nice smooth suspension is very much a key. Something that probably I learned in Nduro days at Rotorua with the fine dust there. I remember doing like a couple of days, I'm like, man, my forks just feel a bit more sticky, and I'd have to go back and then at the ACOM pull the lowers off and top up the oil and stuff like that. I now have started running like a 1 litre drink bottle pretty much all the time, and then I 1.5 Hydro Pack on the backs. Last year at the Miler, I ran 2 Hydro Pack, like 2 1.5 litre packs picked up at each of the aid stations, and then a fresh drink bottle as well.
And what are you running in the pack? Just water, or?
What did I run then? I actually think that I have used the Pure Race Fuel, the high carb drink mix. So 2 in the 1.5, and then another 1 serve in the drink bottle, because it's like like 90 grams of carbs per serve. So I just work on one of those per hour plus a gel. I've actually started putting the gels in the drink bottle as well, just make it a little bit easier. Also, the unflavoured is kind of nice until you've had heaps of it, and then having a flavour is good. So I put the pineapple gel in there. There will be flavours of the Pure Race Fuel pretty soon.
There's raspberry, isn't there?
There'll be a forest fruit or some form of berry, and then the other ones are tropical. So
we might be lucky. We might be lucky on the side of the Tasman. Eh? What do we have it?
Yeah. I've tried a couple of other flavors of race fuel, like a passion fruit and a cola one, and all of them have been pretty good so far. But the actual stuff that they make it out of, the cluster dextrin, actually hides sodium, so it hides the flavor, so you can't put any flavor in it, and you'll notice it. Like I've put an apple pie gel in a drink bottle before, and it tastes like nothing. Like literally, you can't taste it. So
Yeah, nice. So racing in New Zealand, it's a bit like a second home to you. You seem to be here every other year doing a race.
yeah,
You've had a few big races. You've won a couple of the milers. You've been on the podium at the Walker a few times. You also won a stage of the Pioneer with Trekkie, or a couple of stages,
yeah.
was it?
I think we won two, and we got second overall. So, man,
Yeah,
that was wet that year when we did that. I think that was 19 or 19, maybe.
19. Yeah, it's the one I missed with the shoulder. So
Yeah, I think you did
the
yourself
last
a
one.
favour. Yeah, man.
It
On the
snowed too,
last
didn't
day,
it?
yeah, the last day. So I think the second last day there was some snow, and then the last day everything was flooding, and so I got like some mad stomach bug, or I don't know, water poisoning or something like that. So the last stage I was absolutely creeping, and literally just went to the ACOM and then pretty much just stayed there in the shower, pretty much. Just so sick. And then I had my work Christmas party back here the following day. I flew home, and then they're like, "Can we come and get you from the airport?" And I'm like, "No, you can't. I'm ruined. Absolutely ruined."
Yeah, I think you got sick at the volcanic epic as well. You were Sam Shaw? Sam Shaw, was it?
Oh, yeah. We won the first stage, and then just had
Yeah.
like a virus and learning curve there. I really would have loved to have actually won, obviously, with Sam. I think that he won the next year with his cousin, which is pretty awesome. I still talk to Sam a little bit. Um, I don't know. I think that I'll come back and give it another go, maybe next year.
Yeah, you got the heli in it next year. That might be it.
Yeah, anything that's got a helicopter ride's got to be pretty good.
I think Team Pure took out the ladies race, didn't they?
Yeah, maybe I'll
Yeah.
just run that, just do the ladies category instead.
Yeah, the
No,
volcanic
but I
epic's
mean,
quite interesting. There's big fields starting to assemble on there from
yeah,
they're coming from all over the place now, right across the world. So it's pretty rad.
yeah. I think that I don't know the time that I did, I had a ball, so I can only imagine that it's getting better and better and more popular. I think that the stage race sort of thing is really fun for XCO riders as well. Like, I mean, even if you focus on a 1 day thing, it's just so much ride time and can work on your skills and your base fitness and stuff like that, even if you don't want to go for the stage wins. Yeah, I mean, riding there is just so fun, and the conditions in New Zealand. The reason why I go back is that just the trails are just so much. I don't know. I enjoy them a lot more than what I do on my home trails, which are very sandy and rocky over here, which is pretty much the opposite to what they are in over there. I'm sure there are some parts of New Zealand like that, but you also have proper mountains where I feel like we don't really have proper mountains.
Yeah, and how do you find the sort of like the culture of the mountain bike community here in comparison to Oz?
I think the average level of rider is a bit higher in New Zealand than what it is in Australia. Um, at events, yeah, I think there's a lot more trail riders and stuff like that that would go and give a race to go in New Zealand. Where in Australia, I think that the mindset is if you can't win, then like why go, sort of thing. It's they don't realise that it can just be fun to go and get in amongst it with a group of people who are of a similar level.
Yeah,
That mindset's very
yeah,
different. I've really noticed it with work with Pure and the mindset of how even people like buy like gels and the high performance stuff, the high carb and things like that. The mindset's just so different between Australia and New Zealand.
yeah. Interesting. Like, what's it when it comes to the nutrition? What's the difference there?
I think that like for Pure in New Zealand, it's a brand that's been around for quite a long time, and it came from I suppose Simon and Moreau were both like good level cyclists, and they made the product to suit what they were doing. Whereas in Australia, they missed that part of the story, and it's sort of like at the moment the runfluencers and all that sort of stuff and the high rocks and things are very much what people associate the brand with. I don't think they realize the history behind it, and that's super like I suppose the performance plus range that is getting developed, the high carb drink mix, and yeah, the nitrate load and stuff like that as well. So I think that it'll come with time, but we need to work on telling the story more and more. So
Yeah, cool. And just talk a little bit about stage racing. We've mentioned a few different stage races over this. Um, what's happened in Australia? It's what do you got left?
oh,
One,
it's
two
interesting.
races.
I
Cape
think
to Cape.
So Cape to Capes, so Ironman owned them all. They sold them
Yep.
all off. Port to Port is gone. Reef to Reef, I think, has turned back to a one-day thing with the local club. Cape to Cape got bought by another West Australian company, and it seems to still be going well. There's that. There's the Snowies Mountain Bike Festival as well, which is like a 5-stage, 3-day thing, but maybe not on the same sort of like competitor and entry sort of level as what Cape to Cape is. And then, yeah, there was a handful of others. There was like Dragon's Trail down in Tasmania, which I did a few times, which was a really good event. But yeah. They said they were going to take a break for a year, and it's been a couple of years now. So I don't know if that's going to come back again or not. But it just seems that, I don't know, that, yeah, maybe, I don't know if it's e-bikes or if it's that sort of people, maybe they just want to race to win, and if they can't win, they don't go. I really don't know. I think that how Ironman had it set up with Reef to Reef and Port to Port and Cape to Cape, in the destinations that they were, you could go and take your family and do the race and have a week after, and that would be a great holiday. And I think that that's a real important factor. Rather than, like, I know that there's a race in Alice Springs coming up, but you can go out to Alice Springs and do a race, and there's some things to do after, but it's quite costly as well to get there. So to make it, I suppose, viable to take your whole family is pretty important.
Yeah, and do you miss those days with Tricky, mate? You guys are shredding around the place, or you were getting towed around the place by Tricky?
I think that my apprenticeship in holding the wheel was thorough, and I don't think that I'll ever forget that. I think that even like in races now, I'm like, I can just hold the wheel. That's one of my strengths. I'd say I can hold the wheel even if I'm about to like absolutely explode. I can hold the wheel. It was fun going and doing a couple of rides with him, maybe like 3 or 4 months ago, like end of summer sort of thing. Went down there and did a road ride with him, and yeah, he's still training exactly the same way. I just went out there and held the wheel for 3 or 4 hours as he rode along the highway at 300 watts.
Yeah. You know, I'd like him to see him pair up with Cam Jones and then go to a stage race or something. Him and Cam Jones would be just like...
Yeah, it'd be a good combo.
Two axes.
Yeah, it would be a good combo. It would be interesting to... I think that for those sorts of guys, the Lifetime Grand Prix is such a specific focus now for them with those big one-day events. It would be interesting to see how they would all go if they all paired up. I mean, Keegan went and did Cape Epic with Matt Beers and didn't seem to have a great time, but yeah, maybe just too early in the season.
Yeah, I was also looking at that going, how's it going to affect the rest of the season? But clearly hasn't had much of an impact, but yeah. Cool.
Yeah, so, it's interesting. Keegan seems to go so well in America, but not so well overseas, so maybe just American through and through.
True, yeah. Just go off at home and nowhere else. How to win the hearts. Sweet.
Yeah.
Are there any races that are still on your bucket list, those races you want to do? Because you've been BC, you've been all over the place. What's next?
I think a couple of ones that I've been liking the look of lately is the Tracker, which is a gravel event in Girona. Yep. There's, I think is it the 4 Islands or 5 Islands mountain bike stage race, which is like Croatia. I'd like to do that.
Island of Rab, isn't it? Yeah, Rab.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact name of it. Lockie Morton did it last year, and I watched the video. I was like, oh yeah, that'd be
4 Islands.
Yeah, 4. Yeah. So that one I'd probably like to do. Tracker, and there's a gravel one in Africa called the Migration that looks really wild that I wouldn't mind going to do. And I think Cape Epic, even in the old blokes category, if I could find the right person to do it with, would be a good one to do also.
Yeah, totally. Cape Epic's on everybody's list, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the guy that founded Cape Epic is bringing out a new gravel race in South Africa too. I haven't checked in on his progress yet, but he's getting a bit of momentum on it, so there could be another pretty rad gravel over there.
Yeah.
So, and you guys got gravel worlds coming up over there?
Yeah, so in Western Australia next year, 7 gravel race will hold it. So that'll be interesting to see if they just hold it as the same course. It's I actually haven't raced it before. I've ridden in that sort of area and know what it's like. It's got lots of real punchy climbs, so it'll make for an epic race. Just hopefully they might extend it to Euro standards or American standards or whatever standards you want to call it. I think that the races in Australia, they base it on 100 to 120 Ks, whereas like I think the bigger gravel races are normally like 150 to 180 sort of thing, or even 200. Yeah, it's funny that I suppose the target, I suppose, the size of events and stuff like that, how it changes too.
Yeah, is gravel picking up over there? Is that becoming? Is it a
Yeah,
raceable thing for people?
yeah. I think that there's enough events. There's enough like Fondo style gravel events, and there's race specific events as well. I think it's probably worth mentioning that I think that could also be one of the things that's hurting like marathon mountain bike racing and XCO racing as well, because I think that people that might have been like they mostly ride on the road bike, but they do a couple of mountain bike events a year because they're just good fun. They're now going and doing a gravel event instead because it's like more in their comfort zone. And that's what their mates who might not be such good steerers on the mountain bike feel more comfortable doing as well. So I think it's redistribution of the people, of the riders.
Still riding, just
Yeah,
different
just
places.
yeah.
And what's your typical gravel road like? Like I know some of the gravel here, North Island's just terrible. A lot bigger, coarser gravel. South Island, there's some amazing roads, and there's some roads just full of potholes. What's your gravel over there?
In Sydney, it's generally horrendous, like massive, chunky, baby head sized bits of sandstone. North and south of Sydney, we actually have some really amazing, nice, smooth, fast gravel. Where I suppose that there's more dirt and less rocks makes it pretty much a key. I mean, early on when gravel was becoming a thing, I was like doing a local ride with the boys, and we'd go and ride some back streets and cut through some alleyways, and then you'd go down a real rough fire road. And one of my roadie mates, he came and did it, and he's like, I don't know if this is gravel. And then I thought about it a little bit more, and I'm like, I was getting a road ride and a mountain bike ride and mixing them together, and so the average was a gravel ride, but that doesn't make it fun.
Yeah.
I think
what does make a fun gravel ride for you?
I think just nice, smooth, not necessarily super smooth, smoother gravel where you're not going to destroy carbon wheels and get lots of flat tires and stuff like that. I think Central Coast, just north of Sydney, has some great stuff, and Southern Highlands, halfway between Canberra and Sydney, has some real good stuff where it's open. It probably looks a little bit more like New Zealand, like sort of green farmland and some nice rivers and some longer climbs and stuff like that. Make a great gravel ride.
Nice. That's pretty interesting. We're going to wrap it up, taking enough of your time, but we're just going to do some fast fire questions. And my last guest was Lockie Brown, and he's left you a question. And he's, what do you take out for a race snack that's not your traditional race snack?
Oh, traditional race snack.
He's thinking like
I'd say
I've been in the back pocket with a baguette.
Yeah, I'd say it's not that wild. It's just a Snickers. I don't know why. It just has all the magical things in there that just brings the good vibes. It's got a little bit of everything in there to keep you going that little bit longer when you think you're about to perish. So
nice. All right. Sounds good. How are we going to wrap into these fast fire questions? What's your favourite memory of the Waka 100?
As funny as it sounds, probably riding up to No Brains and looking out at the view every time going up there. Looking off the view and looking over the whole forest and stuff like that. And I'm like, this is pretty cool. This is an amazing place to ride.
Yeah, it's a pretty steep descent too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you can see people coming down that first part of it as well. So
even at the top, when you're looking down and the road's like, I don't know how many meters down it is, but the trucks are tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good trail. What's your top tip for somebody doing the Waka 100?
Preparation is the top tip. Have a look at the course. Have a look at what you've got in your local backyard to use to train for it. Be prepared for a tough day and fuel as much as you can.
Mean. What's your favourite trail in Rotorua?
Probably the native stuff at the top. I can't remember what they're two. There's the right one
Yep.
above Billy T.
Yeah,
Is
Te
it
Otawa.
Yeah, Te Otawa. That one I've always loved. But the other one, which goes out to the alien landing thing, that's pretty
Yep.
rad as well.
So that's Tahoto Ariki Trail. They've harvested the pines on the other side, so where you descend down and you came out, it now goes and climbs up, and you can look down onto the lakes and stuff. That side,
nice.
it's mega. It's
above Kung Fu Walrus and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. You can literally go straight from the trail into Kung Fu Walrus now. That's how far they've extended it. That will be in the Waka if all goes well. So,
lovely.
Yeah. What's your favourite trail worldwide?
Favourite trail
Or even location?
It'd actually probably be split. Finale Ligure, I think it is, in Italy. I went there for an EWS with the Shimano crew once, and that was amazing. I would love to go back and ride there a little bit more. Very much enduro bike. Cross-country bike, probably in Canada doing BC bike race was pretty amazing as well. But then, Rotorua is always amazing, and it's right there. It's 3 hours away, basically. So,
just going back to Finale, what was your my personal favourite's the stage that went off NATO base?
Anything off that is pretty amazing. I feel like that's it's probably not the birthplace of enduro mountain bike, but it feels like it is when you're there. That NATO base is real amazing location.
Yeah, totally. I was riding with a media team at EWS doing some stuff for planning for EWS and Rotorua, and there was 2 stages that I just tucked it up inside and just shat the bed. There's one who's just rock drops are huge, and then DH Men, the final stage down to the water.
Yeah,
I was just that's brutal. If you go offline there, you're gone.
Yeah, that's real old school, World Cup downhill sort of stuff from the 90s, I think. They just make a trail down a crazy cliff and yep, that's good. We're done. Don't worry about bunting. If they can survive it, they'll be right.
You don't need bunting with that crowd, though.
The
crowd is mega.
Yeah.
Cool. Like I said before, we get today's guest to do a question for the next guest. What have you got tucked up your sleeve? What's going to come to mind?
What would be your number one training session and why?
Juicy.
That'd be a good one for you.
Yeah. Geez, I wonder who's... I better make sure it's... I think the next person might not be a rider, so...
It'd be easy for them.
Yeah, sweet. So what's coming up for you? You got any projects, events coming up in the next few months?
Just working on the adventure side of things a little bit. I think spring and into summer is going to be pretty busy. So there's obviously the Giant Milo is one of the focuses and getting prepped for that. I'll do some adventure rides between now and then. And then some gravel and maybe even some ultra sort of events. The Le Petit Brevet in Christchurch has got my interest at the moment. I've watched Joe Nation and his attempt at the FKT there, and maybe. And then Edition Zero as well. I'm going to come over and do that.
Sweet. Is that this year, is it? Or next year?
Yeah, this year.
Sweet. We've got a marathon popping up in the South Island next year in December. So Tombstone Bike. It's going to have gravel on this. Gravel on day 2.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. Hey, anybody you want to give shout outs to? I know you've mentioned Giant a few times, but anybody else?
All the guys at Giant. I mean, my journey with them has been pretty amazing. They don't make me to go and do any races that I don't want to do, which is awesome. My work team at Pure, and obviously just all the people that help both put on the races and make the races memorable for everyone else who's going. If everyone wasn't having a good time, then I think it'd be pretty hard. So
yeah, totally.
Spread the froth.
Sweet. And where can people tune in and follow some of your content and stuff?
On the Instagram and on the YouTube and on the Facebook, it's just at Johnny Odoms. I'm there. If you got any questions, please feel free to message me. I try to make sure that I get back to everyone. Thank you.
Sweet. Thanks for your time, mate. And you probably got another training row coming up tonight, do you?
No, I don't actually. Tomorrow, though, I've actually got to go move some furniture now. That'll be a fun bit of training.
Yep, fair call. All right, mate. Thanks for the time.
Cool.
Much appreciated.
Thanks,
Catch you a
Tim.
bit later. See you, bud.
Bye.